building of smoke, heat, steam, and gases after the fire's been controlled, so that's the whole purpose of ventilation. It uses a spray stream from a fog nozzle to entrain smoke and gases and carry them out of the structure. So again, the wider the fog, the more air that mixes in with those tiny little drops of water to carry that out. But it requires firefighters to operate the nozzle in the contaminated atmosphere. So we have to be in the IDLH atmosphere, open a window, hold the nozzle close to the window, and that will take the smoke out with it. But remember, water is going out as well. So if a neighbor's house is there and their window's open, they're not going to be happy. If a car is out there and its windows are down, they're not going to be happy. If your incident command post is out there, they're not going to be happy. And if you're waiting for the rural tanker operation to drop off some water and you only have 100 gallons left, they're not going to be happy. So there's a lot of ifs on hydraulic ventilation. So you got to make sure that it's exactly what you want to do. But next time we're out there playing with the hoses, when it's nicer out, put your face closer to that fog stream and just feel that air movement. And then hopefully we'll get a chance to actually be able to see this. But barring that, you can at least feel the air that gets drawn in. So that'll help. So wide enough fog pattern to cover the exhaust opening. How big is your bathroom window?
Small.
Small. How big is your bedroom window?
Big.
A little bigger. How big is your living room window?
Huge.
A lot bigger. Okay. So try to fill up the window as much as possible. Don't worry about the edges and the corners because that water is going to come in and get wasted. But try to cover the majority of the opening. So it used to say, 6th edition of Essentials said, the nozzle will start 2 feet back from the window, and when you turn it on, adjust your fog pattern to cover 85 to 90% of the window opening. It doesn't say that anymore. So if one of my instructors says that, just let them know they changed that in 7th edition Essentials, get with me or whatever. But this is all they want right now. Wide enough fog pattern to cover the exhaust opening. So you don't have to remember any of those numbers. And the smoke is drawn or pulled out. Disadvantages. Water damage may increase if done incorrectly. So too much water coming in, it's going to soak in, hit the floor, drop down to the floor below it, and et cetera, et cetera. Depletes the water supply. So again, out here, more of an issue. Ice will form on the ground when temperatures are below freezing. Okay. Firefighters operating the nozzle will remain in the heated, hazardous atmosphere. So you have to have a team of 2 with the radio in the crappy atmosphere with a hose line that you don't need for anything else. So if you are searching for, if you are doing overhaul, then you're going to need another hose line to go in there to put out fires because that one's being used. All right, so hydraulic ventilation. A lot of disadvantages. It's very effective, but it's got to be the right conditions, just like PPA. All right, so vertical ventilation. Like chimneys. So vertical ventilation, we have a flow path of fresh air in. The door we came in is going to create that inlet, but we're more interested in the exhaust. So we are going to create an opening in the structure as close to over the center of the fire as possible. So if you can see flames coming from one particular area, then you want to go as close to over the seat of the fire as possible. If it's just charged with smoke, go up and aim for the middle. Okay, the middle will probably get you a hallway in the center. Okay, it might not be ideally perfect, but it's the best you can do. So go for the middle. So smoke is being exhausted from the structure. This is going to follow like a chimney, like a flow path. You don't need a fan or a PPV or anything. You don't need anything. Here, all you're doing is letting it naturally work its way up and out because that's what smoke wants to do. It wants to go upward and outward. Okay, and remember, what's it really doing in here when the smoke level is here? That means all of this is smoke. If you give it away out up there, then this is going to start lifting all on its own because it's buoyant, it's lighter, it wants to go out. So does the heat go with it and the other gases, which don't matter to us. So, the only thing I don't know is vertical ventilation. I don't know why that. Other than that, all right, there's your simple cartoon drawing. Obviously, it shows no firefighters on the roof. if we had a team that was up there and they took the extension ladder down, they forgot the roof ladder, they should have brought that down. So there's a lot of things I don't like about these cartoon pictures. But just looking at what we're trying to do, great. Who's got a two-story house? Okay, so half-ish. If you have a fire on the first floor kitchen, are we going to want to immediately think about venting the second floor roof? Something we got to think about. Are we creating so much smoke that it's going to have a desired effect? Okay, so we may not be in that much smoke, even though it's a good fire and it's going pretty well. If it's on the first floor, I may not be in a hurry to say, let's vent up top. Let's see what the smoke conditions are. Let me get with my crew. Let me know how the smoke conditions are as you make entry to find the seat of the fire. Okay, and if it's so thick and so dark we can't see a thing, then yes, that will help. Vertical ventilation, if I have a crew ready and available, we will do that. Okay, but because all that smoke is heading up and you got all those rooms and halls up there, it might not be that much of a problem to find the seat of the fire. So it's not an automatic. RIT, that crew is automatic. Once firefighters go interior, we do a RIT team. If there's a fire, we automatically have someone go to a hydrant or water source, set that whole thing up. We automatically will search that structure. Hose team, automatic. Vertical ventilation, not automatic. Or horizontal ventilation, not automatic. All right, vertical ventilation risks. Placing personnel above the ground floor, so slip and fall hazards. Working above the fire, working on peaked and flat surfaces. So again, flat is going to be not that big a deal, typically, but the peaked ones, and again, some are high peaks. They're a little bit more treacherous to work on, especially snowy, icy. And then working on roofs that may be weakened. So it could be weakened due to age, due to deterioration, and also due to the fire. So a lot of bad things potentially. All stuff we have to think about. Factors that reduce the effectiveness of vertical ventilation. Improper use of mechanical ventilation. If we're trying to push it out of a lower window, then why are we going vertical with it? So that would be an example of that. Uncoordinated ventilation. So we are going to create a vent hole long before we have a crew ready to go in and do attack. Okay, what's going to happen? Well, initially, we're going to get a whole bunch of heat, smoke, and gas out of the structure. But because it's got so much pressure built up, it's going to look like you did a good job. But eventually, once the pressure goes down a little bit, then that becomes a bidirectional flow path, and air is going to come in and increase the fire. And if you don't have a hose team, then that's a bad thing. So we want a hose team going in if you're going to do vertical ventilation, knowing that you're adding oxygen. Fog streams directed into ventilation openings. So that was that big no we talked about yesterday. Don't put a hose stream in a ventilation opening. Burn through of the roof, floor, or wall. So if something burns through, then obviously we're not going to go on the roof. Additional openings between the attack team and the upper opening. So again, is it going to be effective if you've got all the windows open on the first floor to do that? The smoke might be all going out the first floor, or a lot of it. And an improper location of the vertical opening. So once we go up on the roof, and so we're going to go through the process in a little bit, but the bottom line is the last thing we're going to do typically is we're going to take that pipe pole and we are going to push down that ceiling and see where we're at, okay? Now, be careful when you do it, because if everything works out great, heat, smoke, and even some flame could come shooting out that hole, like a blowtorch-ish type of a thing, for a little bit due to the increased pressure. So be very careful around there. That happens, good, you're in the right spot. But if nothing's happening, and you just created the opening, and you just broke down through the interior, and your mind tells you there should be a lot of smoke, but there isn't a lot of smoke. Why? Look down in that hole. Is it a bedroom with the door closed? And that's not the one that's burning. Is it a bathroom? Is it a closet? Okay, so then that's what they mean by improper location. So again, we're going to have to try to correct that. All right, so vertical ventilation safety precautions. So if you are working on a roof, maybe, work with the wind at your back or to the side whenever possible. so that it's not bringing the smoke to you. Work on the other side of the hole. Ensure that the main structural supports do not get cut. Okay, so the rafters hold up the roof that your crew is standing on. So let's not cut the rafters. Let's cut through the decking material, the plywood, the roofing paper, and the shingles. That's what we want to go through. And so that's what we've got those settings on the saws. Okay, you can see that guard we have. We can cut it so we're just cutting that much, which is going to be fine in most cases. And then you'll feel the difference as you cut just the plywood with shingles. You'll feel that, you'll get used to it. Then all of a sudden the saw's going to bog down. What are you hitting? A rafter. Okay, structural support. Lift up, move over 2 inches, and drop back down, and continue your cut. So it's okay to nick it, but try not to cut it all the way through. Say, oh man, I got something tough here. Let me go. Let me lean into this thing. No, you're cutting the rafter. So you'll feel the difference between that. Guard the opening to prevent personnel from falling into it. Okay, so we're going to be making our openings as we get closer to the ladder. The last cut is going to be the final cut, and then the poke through, and then we're done. So, I mean, as long as it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So then we should gather our equipment, our tools, and head down the ladder. So it's not like you're going to stay there and have a picnic and roast marshmallows. You don't have to guard the opening forever. There's not going to be people on the roof. So once your crew's done, you're done. Evacuate promptly when the work is complete or when ordered to leave. The roof is spongy or whatever the case is. Use lifelines, roof ladders, or other means to prevent personnel from sliding and falling off the roof. So we'll typically be working off a roof ladder. Lifeline, the problem with that is we don't have anything to tie it to, really. Make sure the roof ladder is firmly secured over the peak before working from it. So again, that's the hooks on the roof ladder, and you'll feel it as you go up, and then you'll hear it plop, and it'll go flat against the roof when you go over the peak. And just pull it down, give it a tug. You're good. Exercise caution around electrical wires, solar panels, guide wires. Ensure all personnel on the roof are wearing full PPE, including SCBA. Okay, so we're not really in an IDLH atmosphere, but we could fall into that hole. The roof could weaken, and we could fall into it. So how far are we away from air? That far. Okay, 1 click away. Or if you don't have your mask on and you have it hanging there, you're that far away. So we want you to be ready to get air if you need to in a bad situation. Not your intent. Stay out of range of those who are swinging axes and operating power saws. So those are dangerous things, so we're going to stay a little bit further back behind those folks. We are the backup person. We're their eyes. They're watching the job they're doing. We're watching to make sure that they don't slip, fall, hit a pipe going through the roof. Don't go too close to the gutter, the edge of the roof, any of those types of things. So we need someone to operate the tool, the axe or the saw, and then someone else to watch them. So that's a 2-person operation, really. Vertical ventilation safety precautions. Remain aware of overhead obstructions. Okay, so if there's wires up there, make sure if you're swinging a tool, you know that they're there. Start the power tools on the ground. Okay, make sure that they work, make sure that they're up, make sure that they get past that startup period, and then whatever your department says. Many departments say shut it off, bring it up to the roof, and then restart it. How easy should it restart once you've already had it up and running and gone through the choke sequence? Should start on the first pull, right? Should. Okay. Many saws now have a brake. So if you put the brake on it, the chain will not move. So some departments say as long as the brake's on, you can carry it up the ladder with it running. We don't care. So it depends. Check with your department. And they could be hoisted as well. So we've been practicing hoisting that. Good. Make sure to cut away from the body. So don't stand right here and then start cutting in towards you that way. Off to the side. Extend your ground ladder at least 3 rungs above the roof to the top of the parapet wall. Secure the ladder. So again, I don't see a fire service ladder here, but we talked about that in the ladders chapter. 3 to 5 rungs over the roof, so everybody can see it easily and grab onto it easily while they're working their way over. When operating from an aerial platform, so a ladder truck that has a platform you can work on, stand in. The floor of the platform should be even with or slightly above the roof level. You wouldn't want you to have to jump up or climb up to get over. I want you to be able to see it very easily where you're headed. Because sometimes what you might think would be the roof is just a facade, and then the roof is 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 feet below that. Okay, that's just where they put the signage for the building, and then it's down there. So we want you to be able to see that. Check the roof for structural integrity before stepping onto it, and monitor the roof's integrity throughout the operation. So again, give it a couple whacks with your hand tool, make sure it's good, gingerly step out, and then now you have a baseline. This roof feels like this. If you notice that it starts to get a little bit more spongy as you're walking, make sure you say something, the crew's aware of it, and we may decide that this isn't something we want to do anymore, especially if we start seeing other signs that we could be right above the fire area, smoke popping through, maybe some asphalt on the tar or something starting to bubble up, etc. Walk along load-bearing walls and the strongest points of the roof when possible. Well, you'll hardly ever know that, because how can you know from the top what's load-bearing on the bottom? When the roof has been opened, penetrate the ceiling below to enhance ventilation. So again, here, not a problem. There isn't a ceiling below. But in all of our homes, there is a ceiling below, so be ready with that. And so technically, he is using the pike pole to open that roof, but he's using it wrong. He's got the pike end down into the hole, okay? Do it the other way, with the pike end up, and use the butt end of the pike pole. Now again, if you take that butt end of the pike pole, which is this wide, and you slam it, you're going to get a hole that big. Okay? But remember, that 4x8 sheet of drywall is screwed in, and it doesn't have that much to it. We've all put a fist or a foot through drywall before. So if you take that and you wiggle it a little bit, it's going to start eating away at the drywall where the screws are holding it. And then you can get big chunks to fall down. Okay, a couple reasons for that. Number one, if your gloves are icy, or that pike pole is at all icy or slippery or sweaty in your gloves, any of that stuff, and I am using the pike end, and I'm clearing the way for the interior crew, and he is right underneath the roof as I send my pike pole through, and it slips through my hands, I have just harpooned him. Okay, if I pull it up, hey, I got a live one, help me with this guy, he's putting up a fight. Okay, so bad thing, bad thing. The other one, what's going to keep that from happening? The pike end of the pike pole. If I've got icy gloves or sweaty hands or whatever the case is, and I go to push down and the tool slips, it's going to stop. The pike's going to stop right here on my hand. So less likely to do that. All right, roof ladders. Do not increase firefighter safety on fire-weakened roofs, because the rafters are not sound. Never direct a fog stream. Okay, so we've seen this before. Never direct a stream of any type into a vertical exhaust opening when interior attack crews are inside the structure. It will force heat, smoke, and steam down on them. So again, we do not want to steam or boil our crew. We want to allow that to vent. That's our purpose. Sounding a roof. So determines if the sheathing is intact or the roof is structurally supported, provides no information about the structural members beneath the sheathing. If the trusses fail before the sheathing, the roof may sound solid but will fail under weight. Some roofs will not respond to sounding. All right, so he's got a tool, using it the right way. That firefighter's going to give it a couple good whacks. Sounds good, feels good, doesn't give. Gingerly, first step. Okay, try that. He'll want to climb up one more rung on the ladder. So he's got one hand on the rung. As he does that, grab it if he needs to, and then he'll continue out, get a good solid surface, and go from there. Sounding the roof does not provide enough information to ensure the roof structural integrity. It should not be the only means you determine stability of the roof. All right. So, saws, preventing the roof. Saws are Plan A. Okay, they make it so much easier on the firefighter and the crew, and it's so much faster that it's always our Plan A. Typically on commercial roofs, you will use your rotary saw, K12 saw, like that one on the left. Ventilation on residential, typically we're going to use chainsaws. Okay, and this is that knob. You can unscrew it a little bit and you can move that guard any direction you want and then retighten it. Okay, so if you want to just get a 1 inch cut, move it to 1 inch and cut from there. If you want to get a 3 inch cut, go 3 inches. But again, you want to work it at that type of an angle. So to do that, you're going to have to get it back a few inches and lock it into place there. All right, so in both cases, they are working off to the side of the tool. So if it slips, falls, it doesn't cut them, etc. They're not in the direction of the cut. This one has, you can see, there's a firefighter kind of directing them, holding on to waist strap on SCBA or a chunk of coat or something. They've got their hand there, letting that firefighter know things are good. They're going to tap them if things are bad. You can try to scream over the sound of the saw, telling them what the issue might be. And here, this is going to be the same thing. You might not be able to see it, or they didn't pose it for this picture based on the shadow, but they should also have someone there doing the same exact thing as that other person. Again, if you are cutting the hole, that is your focus. You want to cut, you want to feel, you want to pull up, you don't want to cut through rafters, you want to, all of that stuff. You want to make your opening roughly 4x4 residential, roughly 8x8 commercial. So you got all of these things kind of going on. The other person, your safety. That's our only focus. I don't need to look what you're doing with the tool. I'm confident that you know what you're doing as far as your job. I'm looking to make sure that you don't step, get tripped by a wire, don't step into a hole, don't trip over a pipe through the roof.